Hi, I'm Wendelin Gray, and today I want to read some selections for you from my novel, Sohyeon After Midnight. Uh, this one is what I call my werewolf fake-out, and it has as its inspiration a story particularly by a Lovecraft called The White Ship, and it features a Korean-American family that there's two tracks of the story. One is follows the boy, and one follows the girl, brother and sister in the family, as they have these adventures and some scary things happen to them, both in the contemporary world and in an alternate reality. So the first part, I'm going to sort of jump in the middle of the beginning scene, where Sohyeon has gone on this very strange ship in this sea that's like sort of it only appears in the sky whenever the moonlight hits. So it's very much like an alternate world, but sort of it's not a corporeal sea. So let's start here. Part 1, Scene 1. You were looking for my sister? Sohyeon asked. Minha only looked at him coldly and didn't answer. Her guard returned with Pontal, cutting short their interview. Pontal knelt before the dais, begging for forgiveness in a feeble voice. High Priestess, I was not aware of my error. Allow me to make amends and correct the matter. Return the boy to his home, Minha said, standing, glancing only once more at Sohyeon, who felt his heart flutter at even the slightest attention from her. We can try again to fulfill the Queen's mission at another time. It's getting late. Someone unauthorized may see you if you linger there too long. You will have to wipe the boy's memory when he returns. Do you understand your instructions this time? Pontal bowed his head lower, nodding. Minha dropped a gold coin on the floor before him. You'll get double when you bring me the girl. If you fail again, you will hang in front of the gates of Kabul, where the tigers could eat away what's left of your miserable flesh. Do you understand me, Pontal? Pontal stood and waved for Sohyeon to follow. Sohyeon's gaze lingered over the priestess as he walked behind the ferryman, though her attention was now focused on the strange pearl. A pure white beam of light streamed out of the pearl up into the dome, and the light enveloped Minha, making her look like some dark angel. Sohyeon wondered if he had visited heaven tonight. As they reached the sandy shore leading back to the boat, Sohyeon's body felt heavy, and his heart was desperate to return to Kabul. Pontal, please don't take me home. I want to stay here, he said, without thinking. Dragging Sohyeon along the plank back into the boat, Pontal looked at him long and hard before he pulled up the plank, untied the rope from the post at the end of the dock, and pushed off from the shore. I can only take paying passengers. Your fare has only been paid for tonight. How will you pay me to return here? I don't know, Pontal, but I have to see her again, Sohyeon said, sitting down on the bench as Pontal took the wheel. The ship pulled away from the shore, splitting the water at first, then everything around them turned to white mist, which suddenly reminded Sohyeon of the light from the glowing pearl. Had it really been the moon he saw behind the ship when it came to him earlier, or the pearl? You have to see that witch again, do you? Pontal grumbled. She is said to have a strange power, though I myself have never felt it, not even when she made me her slave. There is a way you can return, but you'll have to get me what I seek most in return for my services. If you can do this one favor for me, I will serve you forever. Name it, Sohyeon said, recklessly, panicking as the mists parted and his house came into view. My family lost a valuable heirloom a few generations ago to the son of a powerful landowner in my homeland of Alchemsine. If you can steal it back from their family estate and return it to me, I can challenge Minha's spell and break free of my slavery. Then I can accompany you wherever you want to go, Pontal said, his eyes glittering madly. How will I get to Alchemsine? Sohyeon asked. I have no fare until then. I'll take you there for nothing until you retrieve my heirloom, Pontal said, the boat fast approaching Sohyeon's bedroom window. But if you fail, you will be a slave to me as I am to Minha. Can you agree to such a bargain? If so, let me finish the witch's errand first, and I will return for you in 5 nights to begin your quest. Sohyeon stepped onto his windowsill and turned to look back at Pontal. I agree to it. Then give me your hand. Sohyeon held out his hand to the ghoulish-looking man, confused. Pontal smiled strangely. Without any warning, he grabbed Sohyeon's hand and bit his palm along the edge with sharp canine teeth. Blood ran down Sohyeon's wrist as he stifled a scream. afraid to wake his family, though dawn was swiftly approaching. Yet the vision of Minha still filled his senses enough to accept the pain and their pact. Ponto released Sohyeon's wounded hand and vanished into the lightening sky. Sohyeon jumped down into his room and slipped back into bed, his mind suddenly dark and his body too tired to move. Part 1, Scene 2. I don't get it, Sohyeon, Pete said when they got to the lockers after gym that afternoon. No one was around, and Pete McIntyre had been Sohyeon's best friend since at least middle school in the Addison School District. What really happened to your hand? Those wounds look pretty nasty. Sohyeon looked up and down the hall quickly while Pete spun his combination on the lock. They would meet up with their other friends on the way home, and he only had a few minutes to tell Pete his secret. I got bit by something. In my dream. By what? How do you know it happened in a dream and not in your bed when you were asleep? Pete asked, keeping his voice low as he pulled out his math book to take home and study for their test the next day. I don't know how to explain it. I woke up in the middle of the night, and a ship was at my window with this guy in it. He wanted to take me to some fantasy world, but when we got back to my room afterward, I asked him if he could take me back there sometime. He bit my hand. Sounds like that video game they released last month. Do you remember it? MoonQuest or something. Did you read about it and have a dream? Maybe you got bit by a bug or something in the room instead. MoonQuest. Sohyeon looked pensive a moment as Pete slammed his locker shut and started to walk down the hall to the front entrance where the rest of their friends were waiting. No, I think it was more like Nightmare on Elm Street than some video game. But what kind of monster was that guy that he bit me like that? Well then, don't let him get you like Freddy did in the movie, Pete said seriously. Didn't the people he killed in dreams die in real life? Sohyeon nodded. Something like that. Why did you want to go back to the place he took you? Pete asked, suddenly a little apprehensive. Where did you go? Sohyeon smiled a little as he remembered Minha's face. He was surprised he could recall it so clearly. I forget the name he used for it, but I met the most beautiful woman there ever. You kidding? Nah, why would I? Pete stopped him for a moment by the doors before they joined the others. The expression in his blue eyes seemed elusive. Be really careful then, bro. I think MoonQuest had some snake women in it. They always are beautiful on the other side, aren't they? Sohyeon let out his breath in a ragged sigh, aware that Pete didn't believe him. They didn't say anything further about it and walked out into the sunny afternoon together. Part 1, Scene 3. So tell me about this deal that you made with the ferryman, Murray said when they sat down at the table that night in the shadowy corner of the ground round, and had given the waitress their orders. Did you say his name was Ponto? He never introduced himself to me. Her dark eyes darted back and forth as the waitress returned with their drinks. They fell silent until she was safely out of earshot. I guess it was pretty reckless of me to make him a promise, but I didn't know he was going to bite me. You're right that it was uncivilized. I've been thinking about that all day since you said it. Ponto didn't seem entirely human when he bit me. But what did you agree to? Murray asked, taking a sip of her coke. Was it something as difficult as my task of stopping a war in some unknown land? She smiled a little at Sohyeon. Maybe something worse, Sohyeon said, smiling back at her. He wants me to retrieve a stolen heirloom back in his homeland. And what do you get out of the deal? I get to see the woman of my dreams again. Who? Minha. Murray looked at him thoughtfully. I'm astonished by how much she impressed you. She was pretty, but I don't think I'd be desperate to do anything to see her again if I were in your shoes. After the waitress came out and set their meals in front of them, they continued their furtive talk. Sohyeon dug into his plate of fish tacos, explaining his position between bites. Would you be interested in Minha if she were a man? Then again, maybe it had something to do with the pearl. It was radiant, unearthly, powerful. Pete said something about it all sounding like a new video game. You told Pete. We shouldn't tell anyone else, Murray said, dropping her quesadilla back onto her plate. Her eyes were full of fear. You don't know what people might say. This kind of thing isn't supposed to be real. Promise me you'll stop talking to anyone else about it but me. Okay, I promise. She sighed, thinking. Yeah, maybe I would be that smitten if Minha were a handsome man. I don't know. Are you sure your lust for her is all there is to it? What are you talking about? I'm a gentleman with nothing but pure intentions. Murray snickered, and Sohyeon looked at her with a hurt expression. Are you sure you don't really want to live in a video game? She asked. Kaboo is kind of exciting, unreal, even preternatural. high school and work are boring compared to that. Maybe you're right, Sohyeon said, gulping down some iced tea between bites. But Pontal kept calling Minha the witch and complained that she had him spellbound. Somehow the heirloom could free him. That's why he needs me. So? So if she's a witch rather than a priestess, maybe both of them are using magic to draw us into their world and this conflict. I wonder if Pontal's situation has something to do with the war between the Duke and the Queen that you mentioned. If so, maybe neither of us really has a choice. Mireille finished her last bite of quesadilla and pulled out the dessert menu. You have a point, she said. Did Pontal tell you what the heirloom is? No, not yet, but he's coming back for me, maybe tonight, to begin looking for it. Hey, did you want to split dessert? Tell me when you find out, but don't let on to him that we're talking and comparing notes on him. Promise me, Sohyeon. I won't tell Minha either. Both of us are making a second pact in as many days, Sohyeon said, looking earnestly at Mireille. Let's split a Sunday and call it a deal. A Sunday. You'd have to pick something so fattening, she said playfully, nodding. Let's do it. As they finished their meal, they talked about mundane things. Sohyeon was a little startled to realize again that his view of his sister was changing. Like his impressions of her during the night, he suddenly noticed how regal and wise, how grown up she seemed. What was happening to him? Had Mireille's trip to Cebu in the night transformed her somehow? Or had it been her proximity to the magic of Minha, who was now such a draw for him to the other world? He felt uncomfortable with his observations, yet they also fascinated him, and he wondered if he also seemed different to her because of his night wanderings. When she came back to the table after paying their bill, they took the metro home. As they arrived at the house and started straight for their rooms, she stopped him momentarily on the stairs. Tell me right away what happens when it comes, okay? She whispered before walking down the hall to her room, not waiting for him to answer. Okay, I'm going to switch to part 2 in the next video. I'm going to split these up by each part that I'm going to answer from. So look on that for that one.